Anaximander, the philosopher of the boundless. What if the universe did not come from water, fire, earth, or air? What if, behind everything we see, there was something completely different? Something infinite, eternal, and impossible to define. More than 2,500 years ago, a Greek philosopher named Anaximander asked questions remarkably similar to these. He was born around 610 BC in Miletus in Ionia and died around 546 BC. Anaximander was one of the early thinkers who tried to understand the universe not through mythology, but through reason, observation, and natural principles. And at the center of his philosophy was one extraordinary concept: the Apeiron. The word Apeiron can be translated as the boundless, the unlimited, or the indeterminate. But what exactly did Anaximander mean by this mysterious idea? Why did he believe that the origin of everything could not be something ordinary like water or fire? And how did his ideas about the universe, the earth, astronomy, and nature make him one of the most fascinating thinkers of the ancient world? Let's explore the philosophy of Anaximander. What is the Apeiron? To understand Anaximander, we first need to understand the concept of Apeiron. The philosophers before him had already begun searching for the fundamental principle behind reality. For example, his teacher Thales believed that water was the fundamental substance of the universe. But Anaximander took a different path. He argued that the primary principle of reality could not simply be one of the familiar substances we see around us. Instead, he proposed something much more abstract: the Apeiron, the boundless. The Apeiron is not a particular object. It is not water, it is not fire, it is not earth, and it is not air. Rather, it is an eternal and unlimited principle from which things emerge and into which they eventually return. According to this idea, everything that exists comes from the Apeiron, and everything that comes into existence eventually returns to it. This creates a fascinating picture of reality. The universe is not simply something that appeared once and then remained unchanged. Instead, reality is part of a continuous process of emergence, transformation, and return. For Anaximander, the ultimate principle of reality had to be unlimited because the world we experience is constantly changing. Things are born, things grow, things disappear, new things emerge. And this endless process requires a principle that is not itself limited in the same way as individual objects. That principle was the Apeiron, Anaximander's scientific and philosophical views. Anaximander was not interested only in abstract philosophical questions. He also wanted to understand the world we actually live in. He observed nature and tried to explain its changes through natural causes. This was an important step in the history of human thought. In the ancient world, many natural events were traditionally explained through gods and supernatural forces. Thunder, storms, eclipses, earthquakes, and other phenomena could be interpreted as divine actions. Anaximander increasingly looked for another possibility. Perhaps nature had its own principles. Perhaps the universe could be understood through observation and reason. This approach helped create an intellectual tradition in which humans could ask, what causes this phenomenon, instead of simply asking, which god caused it? For Anaximander, the world was not a collection of random events. There was an underlying order, and human beings could attempt to discover that order through rational investigation. His philosophy therefore stands at an important point between ancient mythology and early scientific thinking. Anaximander and astronomy. Anaximander's ideas about astronomy are particularly fascinating. He attempted to explain the structure of the cosmos in natural terms. One of his remarkable ideas concerned the Earth. Instead of imagining the Earth as being held up by something underneath it, Anaximander argued that the Earth could remain in the center of the cosmos without needing a physical support. This was an extraordinary idea for his time. Imagine living in the 6th century BC. There were no telescopes, no satellites, no modern astronomy, no photographs of Earth from space. And yet, Anaximander was asking a fundamental question. If the Earth is supported by something, what supports that thing? And if something else supports that, what supports that? This could lead to an endless chain. Anaximander proposed another solution. The Earth could simply remain in its position because it was situated in a balanced relationship with the surrounding cosmos. This was an early attempt to think about the universe as a system governed by order and balance. He also proposed ideas about the sun, stars, and celestial bodies. Some of his descriptions were very different from modern astronomy, of course, but what matters historically is the method. He was attempting to explain the heavens through natural structures rather than purely mythological stories. The Apeiron and the source of existence. Now we come to one of the deepest questions in Anaximander's philosophy. Where does everything come from? Every object we see has a beginning. A tree grows from a seed. A human being is born. A building is constructed. But what about the universe itself? What was there before the things we know existed? Anaximander's answer was the Apeiron. Everything emerges from this boundless principle. The world we experience is therefore not the ultimate reality. It is a temporary organization of things that arise from the Apeiron. Anaximander also believed that there are many worlds or cosmic formations. Our world, therefore, may be only one part of a much larger cosmic process. This idea makes his philosophy surprisingly expansive. He was not merely asking, how was our world created? He was asking, what is the underlying principle that makes worlds possible? That is a much deeper question. And it brings us directly to his central philosophical insight. What did Anaximander mean by the boundless? The word Apeiron is one of the most difficult concepts in early Greek philosophy. Why? Because Anaximander was trying to describe something that cannot easily be described as an ordinary object. If the first substance were water, for example, we could point to water. We know what water is. But if the fundamental principle is the Apeiron, then it cannot simply be one familiar physical substance. Anaximander seems to have thought that the primary principle must be different from all particular things. Why? Because particular things have limits. Fire has a particular nature. Water has a particular nature. Earth has a particular nature. Air has a particular nature. But the source of all these things cannot be limited to one of them. Therefore, the ultimate principle must be something boundless and indeterminate. This is one of the most important philosophical developments in early Greek thought. Anaximander moved the question of the arche, the first principle, away from a simple physical substance and towards something more abstract. In other words, he was beginning to ask not only, what is everything made of, but also, what kind of principle could explain the existence of everything? That question would influence philosophy for centuries. Nature, change, and natural causes. Anaximander also believed that natural phenomena could be explained through natural processes. This may sound obvious to us today, but in the ancient world, it represented a significant change in intellectual thinking. He attempted to understand the origins of the earth, the movements of celestial bodies, and the development of living things. According to ancient reports about his ideas, Anaximander even proposed that human beings could not have appeared in their present form from the beginning. He reasoned that human infants are extremely dependent on others for survival. So he speculated that humans must have developed from earlier forms of life. Some ancient accounts associate him with the idea that living creatures originated in moist environments and that humans developed through a long natural process. These ideas were certainly not modern evolutionary biology, but they are historically remarkable because they represent an attempt to understand life through natural development rather than through a purely mythological explanation. Once again, Anaximander was asking, can nature explain nature? For him, the answer was increasingly yes. Anaximander's other important contributions. Anaximander's interests extended beyond metaphysics and cosmology. He is traditionally associated with early developments in geography, astronomy, and scientific measurement. Ancient sources connect him with the use of a gnomon, a vertical stick or instrument that could be used to study the movement of the sun and measure shadows. By observing shadows, one could gain information about the changing position of the sun and the passage of time. This demonstrates something important about Anaximander. He was not simply sitting and speculating about the universe. He was interested in observation. He wanted to connect philosophical questions with what could actually be seen and measured. He is also traditionally associated with an early attempt to represent the known world through a map. If true, this would be another remarkable achievement. It suggests that Anaximander was trying to organize human knowledge of the world systematically. He was not satisfied with simply accepting traditional stories. He wanted to investigate, organize, and explain. Anaximander's legacy. So why is Anaximander important today? Because he represents one of the earliest stages of a profound transformation in human thought. He inherited the questions of earlier thinkers such as Thales, but he pushed those questions further. Instead of saying that the universe comes from a familiar substance, he proposed an abstract and unlimited principle, the Apeiron. Instead of explaining nature entirely through divine intervention, he searched for natural causes. Instead of accepting the universe as something mysterious and unquestionable, he tried to construct a rational picture of the cosmos. And instead of looking at individual things as isolated objects, he tried to understand the processes connecting them. His philosophy therefore stands at the beginning of a long intellectual journey, a journey that would later continue through philosophers such as Heraclitus, Parmenides, Plato, Aristotle, and many others. The questions changed, the answers changed, but the fundamental search remained. What is reality? Where does everything come from? Why does the universe have order? And perhaps most importantly, can human reason understand the nature of existence? Anaximander lived more than 2,500 years ago, yet some of his questions still sound surprisingly modern. He looked at the universe and refused to believe that everything could simply be explained by mythology. He searched for a deeper principle, and he called that principle Apeiron, the boundless. For Anaximander, the ultimate source of reality was not something we could easily see or touch. It was eternal, unlimited, and beyond the boundaries of individual things. From it, worlds emerge. Things come into existence. They change. They disappear. And they return to the greater order from which they came. Perhaps the most important lesson of Anaximander is not whether every one of his scientific ideas was correct. Many of them were not. What makes him important is that he dared to ask new questions. He believed that nature could be investigated, that the cosmos had an order, that human reason could search for its principles, and that behind the visible world there might be a deeper reality waiting to be understood. That is why Anaximander remains one of the great pioneers of Western philosophy. He did not simply give us an answer, he gave humanity a new way of asking the question. This is LogosNet TV Global, exploring the ideas that shaped human thought. Using the memory map method, one of the rapid learning techniques, these visual and auditory contents that we have prepared were created to help you learn faster. Don't forget to add a screenshot of the philosopher memory maps to your archive. Stay with love and never lose your curiosity. This is LogosNet TV Global, exploring the history of ideas, from the ancient world to the modern age.